Alright, so a few videos about the Great Depression today. Um, the first thing that you have on here is the term pen money, and that's a reference to women's employment in the 1930s. But when we got to the 1920s, women in non-agricultural labor, which is, um, we have to designate non-agricultural labor because remember most women of color are going to be stuck in sharecropping jobs in the South. So by the time we get to the end of the 20s, women in non-agricultural labor made up 25% of the workforce. So we're at the highest we've ever been as women working, um, you know, in non-agricultural labor. Then the Great Depression hits, and so women's jobs are going to be like the most expendable. Now I'm going to contradict that in just a moment, but let's start off with that idea. And the idea is that when women work, they're just working for like for pens, like for buttons, for jewelry, for just like little buttons or pens to put on their little brooches, to put on their jacket or their top. And so this was the idea that you could dismiss women from their jobs because their jobs weren't necessary to like sustain or support a family in the same way that a man's job was. And of course that's not true. If women were working, it was because their family needed that money. The federal government also perpetuates this idea that's on your outline section 213 of the National Economy Act. And the government didn't say that that you could fire a woman from her job. What Section 213 of the National Economy Act said is that if you had two members of the same family working for the federal government, you could fire one. Well, it's not like they were firing two brothers that were working for the federal government, right? This was a means to dismiss women from their jobs. And if the federal government can do it, well then, right, other people are gonna, state and local businesses are gonna do this too. And again, it falls into the idea like, well, women don't really need these jobs. Public opinion supports this as well. Gallup polls come of age in this period where they would, call people on the telephone and ask them what they were thinking. And one Gallup poll asked, should a woman have a job if her husband has a job? And 82% of the people that were asked said, no, she shouldn't have a job if her husband has a job. 82%. And then they only asked women, should a woman have a job if her husband has a job? 75% of women also said, no, she shouldn't have a job if her husband has a job. So, this really was the prevailing idea of the time that women shouldn't be working if their husbands had a job, that her job, right, is to be in the home. That is that myth of pen money, that when women are working, they're just working for jewelry and, buy the extra radio to help pay for the car, these kinds of things, not for any, needs. Now, so on the one hand, women are going to be the first to lose their jobs in the Great Depression. On the other hand, and this is where I'm going to kind of contradict myself, women also have a better chance of keeping their job, but it's going to depend on the job they have. And the only reason they're going to be able to keep that job is because it's already a low status, low paid job that nobody else wants. Right? So if a woman was working in the service industry, like if she was a nurse or if she's in child care, she's going to be able to keep that job because that's seen as like a woman's job. and it's low status and low pay. And so in this way, sometimes women could ride out the Great Depression better than men, because if they had a job that was connected to like women's work, meaning it's going to be low status and low pay, they might be able to keep that job. So it's kind of a double-edged sword, if you will. All right. Hopefully that summed up that first term there for you in reference to pen money. And if you have some more questions, you can put those in the discussion board. Take care.
Drinking coffee every day didn't work for me.